Hi everyone, my name is Gabby from Hunters Hill Council and welcome to the final in our series of adult gardening workshops. Meredith from Easy Care Gardening is going to be showing you how to make a Kokedama ball. I think that's how it's pronounced. And you should all have your kits with you. What you need if you are going to be watching this video later is some Sphagnum Moss and some string and a little plant, and Meredith will tell you what the plants are that you can use for this if you want to make some more. So we're going to get started and enjoy your afternoon of gardening.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gabby. Just before we get started, I should have probably said, has everyone got moist sphagnum moss? Because if you don't have moist sphagnum moss, go get a little container now and just pop it in and out of water quickly so it sucks up some of that moisture. It doesn't need to be sodden. It just needs to be moist enough that when you squeeze it, it comes together a little bit. All right. So if you can just put yourselves on mute, run off and get a little bowl of water and just make sure it's moist enough that it's just holding together. Okay, so I might just take off that background filter so that it's not going blurry for you. Hang on. All right, so sphagnum moss, we'll start with what that is. This is this amazing organic matter here that's thread-like and holds its weight in water over and over. It's like a living sponge. So sphagnum moss is a brilliant thing. It not only does it hold water, but it also holds nutrients, which is why you can actually grow plants in it. Now, I'm going to switch off this camera here and turn on my other one so you're not getting that sun glare. Hang on, sorry. And hopefully you'll be able to hear me okay. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me. All right. Just turn that one off. Sorry about this. Okay, so this beautiful sphagnum moss here is, as I said, it's one of those organic matters that holds itself and over in water. And it's used to make these Kokedama balls. Now, Kokedama ball literally means moss ball. And while these don't look mossy now, they will actually revive. This is like sphagnum moss in a holding pattern. And it will actually completely green itself and become a living ball of growth. So you'll get two plants for the price of one. You'll get the sphagnum moss growing as well as your little syngonium. So I've chosen an indoor plant, these syngoniums here. And the reason I've chosen these is because they're pretty foolproof and you can have it inside, which is lovely because if you want to have your moss ball when you're finished, if you're so proud of it that you want to hang it in the bathroom, then you certainly will be able to do that. But you'll also be able to just sit it in a dish if you want to, in a lovely, earthenware dish and actually have it on your coffee table, or you can have it outside in the patio area. It's called Syngonium or white butterfly is its other name, but there are different coloured variegations. So I'm not sure what coloured variegation you've got, but they're all beautiful. They've got the sort of arrow-shaped leaf. They're in the Aracaceae, the family of aroids, and they're great indoor plants, really, really fabulous. They will actually have a trailing habit. So even though they're small at the moment, they'll continue to grow and become eventually sort of spill over the edge of the ball that you're going to create. Now, the first thing to do once you've back from the making sure your moss is nice and just moist is create a little pile on the ground of your moss. It should be about the same size as a bread and butter plate by the time you've finished, little saucer kind of shape. And just have that there on the surface that you're working on. And then get your syngonium and very carefully squeeze it all the way around its pot. Put your fingers on either side of the Syngonium in that peace kind of sign, and just close your fingers slightly so that they're making a nice grip. And then you should be able to remove the plant from the pot without any trouble at all in terms of any root disturbance. Now, because we're going to have a Kokedama ball and it's not getting planted in the ground, we try not to disturb our roots too much. And they shouldn't be pot bound, they should be just good. So just sit them on top of your little plate, if you like, of sphagnum moss like that. And whilst you do that, getting that ready, then I want you to get your string and unravel a length of about 1 meter and just have that ready, all right, so that you're ready to start using your string as needed. And then very carefully, I want you to scoop up your sphagnum into your palm. So if you're left-handed, put it in your right hand. And if you're right-handed, put it in your left hand. So scoop up that sphagnum like that. All right. And as you do that, you should find that you're able to hold the ball, the plant, easily in your hand. Well, not easily, but certainly just comfortably. And then you can sort of bring up some of that sphagnum moss around the sides. All right. Now, don't worry if it drops on the ground and you end up with lots on the ground. It's just pick some of it up and put it at the top and keep on pressing in and around your moss ball. You can use 2 hands at this point to squeeze it tight, and it won't bind completely, but it certainly will do a fair bit of binding. All right. So do that, and then when you finish, when you're comfortable with what you've created, don't worry, they're not the final piece at the moment, so it will look a little terrible. That's quite okay. Get the string and give yourself a little bit of extra length because you'll need that at the end. So just sort of pop that in the plant somehow so that that's spare string sitting there, and then get the length of string. And what you need to do is wrap it around, and if you imagine that this globe, this orange that we're creating, is actually a clock face, what I want you to do is go from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock all the way under and over. Right, so 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Don't worry if little bits fall off, it's quite okay. And then I want you to go then one more turn to the left and do the same thing. So in effect, your moss, your sphagnum that you're winding is going from 1 till 7 now. And then you do it again with a slight turn. Keep on pinching and just tidying it up slightly. And don't worry if it looks messy, it's quite normal at this stage. And go again, and go this time from 2 till 8 o'clock and around 3 till 9 o'clock and around. And all the time your string should be wrapping around as if this was the map of the world, around the South Pole, right up into the Arctic Circle. All right, so keep on working your way around the clock dial, going from the North Pole to the South Pole, North Pole to the South Pole, North Pole to the South Pole. And you can see once you've loosely gone round once around the whole clock face, that you'll end up with it starting to look a little bit neater. So once you've gone around once, then you might want to start squeezing it and making sure it is actually a round shape, not a pear shape or not an egg shape or anything else, but that you actually do have some roundness to your ball. And the other thing that you might want to do at this point is start to collect some of the scraps that have fallen, and you can just put them on top and go around again if you're not happy if there's any bare spots in your ball. You don't necessarily need to, but if you've got bare spots, that the next round, if you like, time round with the clock around the world, is the time that you can fill in some of those gaps. Now, you shouldn't be squeezing it too tight. I just got a message there. Let me see. What's that one say? So dampen your moss. Make a bread and butter place shape. Can everyone hear me, or can you not hear me? And using the string, go around the world. Go around the world. One more time. Can be a bit annoying with the piece that you've left at the top, but that's handy for the end piece when you tie it off. All right. So now, once you've gone around again, around the world again, you might want to do the next time you go around the world, going on the Arctic Circle part of the plant on the other side of the plant, so that you're building up your string around the plant. The second time you go around as well, because it's so much easier, you can be neater if you want to make the string itself an interesting pattern. All right. We having any disasters? Let me have a look and see how you're all going. How are you going? Getting it? Not doing too many disasters? All right. Now, once you've done 2 laps, have a look at your globe and tell me whether you think it needs a third or whether it's okay. It depending on how well you've done it, you may get away with just 2 laps of the globe. There's a lot of silent concentration I can see happening. So I'm going to just cut my string off because I'm happy with the way mine is already. And I'm going to tie my ends together. If you've buried your other end, it doesn't matter. You can still tie a knot to secure it. And I'm just doing mine in a bow because mine's going to be a little Christmas Kokedama. All right, so I've got mine as a little bow there. And what you can do if you'd like to make it sort of dressed as a whole series of Christmas Kokedamas as presents, you can get another coloured string. So you might want to get some red wool, or you can even get some little fine, very fine tinsel, and you can run that around as a sort of a final dress layer, if you like, over the top of your layers, so it can be removed later, but that it looks really decorative. Could I put mine close up to the camera? Yes. So you can see I've only been around my ball twice with the string, and I'm happy with that because you don't actually need to cover all the moss. You want the moss to be seen a little bit in through the string, because as I said, the moss itself will become part of the plant, will become part of the living sort of pleasure of this ball. All right, you do need an extra pair of hands though, don't you? And it can get tricky when you have, it's easy to practice on these sort of orange size ones, but as soon as you start to get into a bigger Kokedama ball, you need to have done it a few times really to get the hang of it reasonably well. All right, how do you look after your Syngonium is a very good question. Well, as I said, this is what I've chosen this plant because it's pretty tough. It just needs a light area, not directly in the sun, just a dappled light area. It can be inside or it can be outside as long as it's got dappled light. And the way you water it is you take the ball and you literally dunk it in water until the bubbles stop coming up. And once the bubbles have stopped coming up, then you take it and put it, you know, beside the kitchen sink, something like that, and let it just drip dry. And once it's drip dried, it's ready to hang again. Now, how often you need to do that completely depends on the sort of environment that it's in. If it's in a living room and it's sitting on a table, you might want to give it a little bit of extra water by putting some water in the saucer as well, and it can suck up water through the moss. But if you've got it hanging where it's exposed to the air all around, you will need to water it a few times a week by dunking it in the kitchen sink and letting it, you know, re-wet, or putting it in a bucket and letting it re-wet properly. Now, how much string did I use? I think I used about 2 meters tops. I unraveled 1 meter to do that first round, and I just went around again. So I don't even think I would have used 2 meters, to be honest. But if you want to create sort of a hanging decoration, you can put a longer piece of string out and use that as your hanger as well. So it just depends really how, you know, what your end game is for your Kokedama ball, whether you're going to create a little loop to hang it, or whether you're going to just sit it on a saucer. Or if you're going to get a few, what can be really lovely is if you go and get a few and try some more, and you have like a little chandelier of Kokedamas, and you can, or a little cluster of them all hanging at different heights, and that can be really beautiful. It's kind of, you know, the 2020 version of the macrame hanger is the old Kokedama ball. So yeah, that's something to think about as well. Now you can also mist them just with a water mister in between, with an atomizer in between dunking them, if you want to sort of stretch it out a little bit between soaks. And how do you feed them is probably another burning question for you all. So the answer to that is I would add some seaweed solution, or some liquid blood and bone, or some maybe some fish emulsion to the water, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. And so when you're soaking it, it's actually getting some of the nutrients in through that of that liquid fertilizer into the ball as well. Now, how long do they last? Well, that's a bit like saying, you know, how long is a piece of string? Because unfortunately, it does depend on how well you look after it. Now, as I said, Syngonium should last for years and years and years. So there's no reason why your little Kokedama ball can't last for a long, long time. You might need to put it up, plant it, if you like, repot it into a bigger ball, which will be very, very simple, just a matter of unwinding the string in a few years' time. A little bit of the string, you don't have to even unwind it all, but a little bit of the string, and adding more moss, and the roots will grow all the way through it, because this sphagnum moss that it's growing in is like the world's best organic matter for plants to grow in. You can use lots of different plants. So if you're wondering what else you could do it with peace lilies, you could do it with devil's ivy, you could do it with outdoor plants as well. So you could certainly do it with herbs, anything that's used to sort of got a nice trailing habit. So you could use it some thyme or some oregano or something like that if you wanted to. I've even seen citrus trees done into huge big Kokedama balls, which is just completely insane, but there you go. I've seen it done. So I think it's a matter of the skill and the size of the ball as to what you could use. Anything that's got a naturally epiphytic habit works really, really well. So if you think orchids, bromeliads, what else might be epiphytic? Staghorns, elkhorns, all those sorts of things as well. You can do them in Kokedama balls and they grow quite well as well. Now just have a look and see some of the questions that I've missed. Hang on. Would you include a bit of dirt inside the ball? No, is the answer. Only ever use potting mix. Potting mix is designed to drain freely. It's a really good mix of organic matter and sand. Most dirt, if you like, most soils have very fine particles of silt in them, which no, I wouldn't use. Sometimes I know in Japan they've used clay around the outside as like the casing, if you like, but not on the inside. So that's more of an organic layer to help the moss grow on, as opposed to help the plant grow, if that makes sense. If you really want to encourage, the moss to grow quickly, just make sure you keep it well watered. That's the best thing. Sometimes people like to put in, maybe a sour milk or yogurt kind of solution on the outside to encourage mosses and lichens to grow. Personally, because you're going to have it in your house, I don't know that I'd be wanting to introduce that sort of bacteria out into your indoor plants. If it was outside, maybe you could get away with it for some speedy green, but I would just use water. That would be my top tip, is just stick to water and just let the sphagnum moss rehydrate and regenerate naturally. Has anyone else got any questions?
Hi, Meredith. I can see a question. Someone's asked, where can you buy sphagnum moss?
Where can you buy sphagnum moss? You can get it anywhere, really. You can get it at a local garden centre. You can get it at your local hardware, at your local like rural supplies stores. All of those places sell sphagnum moss. It comes as different kinds, different sizes. Like you can get it sort of dehydrated and compacted into a brick. You can get it looser like this in a bag. You can get it in all sorts of kind of ways. It is a natural product. It's a finite resource, so it's treated with utmost respect. It's very precious. It's used as well for inside terrariums. It's often used as a layer in a terrarium because it absorbs so much water. But, it also used to be used as sanitary pads. So it really does hold the moisture. So you can use it for lots of things. So that's where you can get it. Now, because I'm doing this talk for Easy Care Gardening, you can't get away without a little Easy Care Gardening blurb from me. So if you don't know what Easy Care Gardening is, does anyone know what Easy Care Gardening is? Yes? Well, you don't count Hunters Hill Council. You've been here before. Easy Care Gardening is a not-for-profit organisation, and it operates in Hunters Hill, and it also operates in the city of Ryde. Oh, Kath, you're signing up to help. Aren't you fantastic? Well, it operates in 4 local government areas, and it's like a dating service for plant lovers and gardening people. It puts your wonderful, caring hands in touch with people that really need help in their garden. So we basically put people in teams and care for the older and frail members of our community that can't garden themselves anymore. We'll do a visit once a season. Normally, depending on the size of the garden, up to about 12 people come and do a backyard blitz there. You're given all the training of what to do. You're given tools and insurance. You don't have to do anything too arduous. You can just weed and rake or do a little trimming, but because there's so many of you, you make a huge impact to the people that are living there. And very exciting, our model always included a morning or an afternoon tea that the client would share with us, the volunteers, to break up the 3-hour gardening session. And we've had to have, of course, had those on postponement because of COVID, but next year we should be bringing those back as well, which is a really integral part of the whole 3-hour session, is that wellbeing check and a way that the client can say thank you to the volunteers for coming and helping. So that's what that service is. It's called Easy Care Gardening. You can hop on Facebook and have a look. I'd love to see how your Kokedama balls go. It'd be wonderful if you sent me a photo. I'd love that. Just put them on the Easy Care Gardening Facebook page, or put it on the Hunters Hill Facebook page, and I'm sure they'll share us or tag us. So I'd love to see how your Kokedama balls go. And yes, they do make a fabulous Christmas gift. And if you're a member of an organisation, or you've got a company, you know, if you're a member of an organisation like Rotary or something, you can also join Easy Care Gardening as a team and just go on a roster to do a team sort of session as well with us. And you can also do corporate Easy Care Gardening sessions as well, where we send a company out to help normally a really overgrown garden when we do those. But we've had lots of lovely, fantastic help from local organisations, companies help as well. So that's been fantastic. Has anyone got any other questions? No?
No, you can also put your hand up as well if you need to.
No, I hope you've all enjoyed it. Thumbs up if you've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We loved it.
Good.
Very good. Thank you.
Excellent.
Meredith.
Lots of thumbs up. And you can send photos of your Kokedama balls to council. So send it to people@huntershill.nsw.gov.au. And I'm happy to collect everyone's photos. And as I said at the beginning, this workshop has been recorded, so I will be sticking this up on our YouTube channel, which is, so if you go to YouTube, just search for Hunters Hill Council and look for the workshops playlist, and that is there. So if you want to go through the process again, if you gather your own ingredients and make your Kokedama ball, you can look that up again, which will be fabulous. And I'm sure that everyone in the Hunters Hill LGA will be receiving lots of Kokedama balls for Christmas.
Well, they look like the most wonderful baubles, Christmas baubles. They do.
They're fabulous. They're fabulous. Maybe we need to do some stealth Kokedamaing around instead of like yarn bombing. We'll we can do stealth Kokedamas, which would be fabulous. So thank you, Meredith, for this. It's absolutely fabulous, and I'm glad everyone got their little balls that we delivered yesterday for all the materials.
Thank you, Gabby, for driving them around.
That's okay. That's okay. So I'm going to do one myself. I just need help at the moment. So thank you everybody for coming to this workshop. Thank you to Meredith for running it. It was fabulous, really intriguing, and I'm sure all of our brains are kind of working hard of all the different things that we can do with this process, because it's fabulous. So I will send a note out to everybody when this video is up and you can watch that. But for now, thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Oh, and the birds sounded beautiful too.
Well, you know, it is National Bird Count on at the moment.
Yes.
So it will be my evening tour to sit outside and count birds for 20 minutes.
Yes.
So, you know, such a labour.
Excellent. There is some information about the backyard bird count on the Hunters Hill Council Facebook page, because a lot of people participate, and yes, you just need to spend 20 minutes and count all the birds that are in your area, and the app has an ability to show you what birds they are. So if you don't know what the bird is, you can look it up, and it's always good. And Hunters Hill Council takes that information that is given to us by the backyard bird count, and we can use that information for our bush care and sustainability as well. So
sorry, was that on Hunters Hill Council's website?
It might be on the website, but it's definitely on the Facebook page, because we definitely posted about it.
Okay.
So that started yesterday. I think it's the 18th to the 20-something, but yeah, so you sign up and you do 20 minutes of counting the birds in your area. And
oh, my children would love to. Thank you.
Yeah, and the information is really really interesting, because we can see how many birds are in the area and what type of birds they are. So it's a really good thing to do. So hopefully everyone has fun with their birds and their Kokedama balls, and the birds don't steal all the moss for their nests. So
that's why you need the string.
That's why you need the string. all of my hanging baskets have been all the coconut fiber has been stolen. A bird nest. Okay, I'm going to finish the recording, and thank you everybody for joining in, and we'll see you next time we do some workshops. Thank you.
Bye.